Welcome everyone to another episode of the Evogen podcast. As usual, this time we're online, and I'm here with Colby and Maisie. But without further ado, let's hop right into what we got to talk about for today. So let's get to it.
Yeah. Today's kind of a special episode. It's a bit different than what we normally do. We have a compilation of questions that we get kind of a lot. So we're just going to do a little Q&A and go from there. So it's going to be super exciting. I guess I'll just jump into the first one unless you guys have any announcements. We've we've been kind of batch recording, so basically all the announcements are the same as they were the last time. But anyways, first question that I have is what's a hard truth that you guys had to learn this year?
That you overestimate what you can do in the short term, but underestimate what you can do in the long term. Uh, I think sometimes for me personally, I think, oh, like pretty used to have the habit of having more of a short term type of mindset on certain plans and goals and actions. Like if I do this, I'll get this, and it comes with a lot of like the deal stuff that I do in real estate. It's very short term, but I mean, I'm looking back from this year and the past 2 years. I'm like, wow, like I didn't know that I could do so much within just 2 years, 3 years, right? And that's one thing that I had to learn and had to understand that nothing's going to come fast, right? At the end of the day, it's going to take time and it's for sure going to have its ups and downs. So,
Yeah, I feel like that's a lesson I've been learning over the past couple years. I feel like I really like drove it into my brain this year. Like I don't know, because last year I was like, I'm gonna be a millionaire by August 20, I can't remember the date, 2027 or 2026, I mean, and I would like say that every single day. And like, yeah, it could have been possible, but the specific path that I want to go down, it still is taking that time and those reps. I think
yeah,
I'll just answer the question. The hardest truth that I've had to learn is to just kind of go for it, which is funny because I talk about that a lot. Like the first thing you need to do is just like take some sort of action. But for so long, I was taking action, just not action that would really get me anywhere. It was just like busy work and being in project mode for like, I think I was in like project mode, like staying up all night on my computer creating things for like 8 or 9 months straight. And I mean, as glad as I am that I did that, it didn't really set me up for anything when I could have been starting way sooner and seeing results way sooner, if that makes sense.
right, right. And one thing that I would add on to like kind of like my hard truth is that like there will be people that and it's never a competition at the end of the day, but there will be people that are younger than you or that are the same age as you that are just more ahead. Just like in the path of where you want to be at the end of the day. But that doesn't mean that you can't get there regardless of, your age or you're getting older, right? And all of those things. I feel like how am I supposed to say it? I feel like everyone has their own destination and that leads to the same destination, but it just everyone has their own timing, and I have to,
Journey.
yeah, I have to let go and just accept that, for whenever that day comes for me to where I get to where I need to be, I just have to, like I said, accept it and let it go. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the hardest truth for me was it's not just you, like it you and your partners and your team have to be on the same page in order to achieve your goals. And you have to have the same goals. You have to be going towards the same destination. You have to understand what the pathway is that you're going to get there. We've run into this a lot as we've been scaling Taylor Proactive Team is a lot of the times we're yeah like many times right now we're like, oh yeah, this is the goal, this is where we're going. Sometimes we'll talk and other people think the goal is different, and so we have to pivot again and talk to everybody and say, hey, this is the goal. And then like one side is clear, it's also getting the pathway. So I think the communication and the understanding, the hardest truth has been just that how everything has to be aligned and how there has to be constant communication and understanding between everyone in order to achieve the greater vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think especially because I feel like you started out more like a solopreneur. How do you say that word? Like doing a lot of things on your own. So I could definitely
Mhm.
see how, I mean, I guess with the three of us, we've all kind of learned that too, like because we've gone from doing our own thing to collaborating and making sure we're all on the same page. And some weeks we're just like, what is even going on in here? And then other weeks we're like, okay, this is where we need to go and set that intention. So yeah, I could definitely see that.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have
No,
you guys ever, oh, sorry, go ahead, Eddie.
no, say what you were gonna say.
I was just gonna ask the next question, which is, have you guys ever felt like you were falling behind watching everybody else, maybe online or um, in networking groups and stuff like that?
Yeah, personally, I don't really have kind of like a fear of missing out. I feel like wherever I go, whether if that's a networking event and stuff like that, I'm there at the right time, at the right moment. Like, for an example, I think it was 2 days ago, I went to kind of like a little hangout for like Gen Z, people, young guys like me. And I ran into someone coincidentally that is in contact with this really big investor. And I was like, wow, like it's super cool. He's been working for him for like 2 years. And I'm like, what can I do to provide value? Because basically he's like, if I'm talking to him, I'm basically talking to the investor. That's like he's like the very personal, close assistant of his. And I basically landed kind of like a partnership deal. And that was kind of like a recent thing that was pretty exciting. But I feel like, everyone is doing so much that they can throughout the day and throughout the week and month and year that it's like you're going to go to things out of wanting to, and you're going to meet the right people at the end of the day. So don't feel like you're missing out on anything. Just feel what you feel is comfortable. Not too comfortable, right? We don't want to stay too comfortable, but yeah, it's all going to work out for everyone at the end of the day.
Mm.
Mhm. What about you, Colby?
I don't know if I like I don't know. I don't really get envious of anyone I see online or whatever. Because you only see one side to it. You don't see the other side to it. You don't see the hours and years of grinding and the failed businesses that they had. And so I just remember that, and I'm like, and it's just more aspiring. It's like I aspire to have that success, and it's just a reminder that it's possible, and that to like eliminate distractions, and how honestly, I mean, looking at that social media way too often is a distraction. So if I'm seeing that and I do get envious, then that's a sign to me that I need to turn everything off, and I need to start focusing more on what I'm building and growing instead of what I'm consuming.
Yeah. I think that's the place that I've gone into more this year. But I feel like starting out, it is really easy to feel like you're falling behind because there's so many people that like sometimes they're faking their results, but I'm in a space where people are literally making like their first 10K in their first week. And when like I'm not doing that or I'm not achieving the same results that I'm seeing from people immediately, it's easy to like get in your head about it. But like you said, I've really had to realize like, well, if they've done it, it's possible. Like nothing that anyone else has done is impossible to achieve. And so just use it as a motivating factor and kind of like you have to just like reframe that belief, I guess, and not let yourself like feel like you're getting behind because in all reality like all of us and most of the people listening to us, I mean probably everyone, no matter despite how old you are, like if you're tapping into this side, you're tapping into freedom and creating something for yourself, you're way farther ahead than 97% of the population, which is like 8 billion people that are just gonna grow up average, go to school average, and then die average because they don't really care about the things that you're caring about. So
Mm.
Yeah.
you just have to kind of keep that in the back of your mind.
And one thing too that I'd like to add to that is that I feel like with social media and kind of like what I would see a lot online, that is all spotlighted. That's all recommended to everyone. So it seems like everyone out there is winning, but that's the minority. That's the 2% of people that are really killing it out there and took a lot of grit and effort and hard work and a lot of failures to get to where they need to be. So I just would want to add that as well. I thought that was super important.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, if you look at the viral videos, like usually it's just people like doing stupid stuff or like just like random things. That's what's going viral. So don't think you have to have it all figured out or like this person is so far ahead of you because they went viral. My friend Camille, she's actually really cool. She just decided to do like a 30-day content challenge because she wants to learn how to like create an income online and stuff like that. Um, and so she just like started posting like she's like, I don't know what I'm gonna post, but it's gonna be something every single day for the next 30 days. I'm just gonna post something. And I was watching her like little journey. I was like, this is so cool. But she had a video. I don't know how many views it's at now, but it was literally just about a Subway sandwich order and it got over 5 million views. Like
Yeah,
it's the craziest stuff that's like actually going viral on the internet. So don't feel like just because this person is like creating all this like really cool content, like maybe they just started out with something like random and that's what got their start. Like it's there, I don't know what direction I'm trying to go, but there's just so much more kind of like Colby said that you don't see behind the scenes.
absolutely. And it seems like a lot of people that go viral, they tend to fizzle out very shortly, shortly after.
Yeah, that is true. Depending on like what it was, like their intention behind the video that they posted. Like some people, the algorithm is so weird now. Like you can't really predict it. Like I'll post more. Like if I post every day of a week, then my views will go down. They won't go up because of just how the algorithm is. But yeah, it's just interesting. That's another topic I feel like we can talk about another day, but the algorithms now are just interesting.
For sure.
Hmm.
Along with that topic, what's something you guys think that people fake way too much on social media?
For sure the results. And
Hmm.
another thing too is that I see a lot of people trying to profit off of those results. So they're like, oh, I've made X, Y, and Z. You should do it too, which is a great strategy. Don't get me wrong. Like you can make a lot of money doing that.
Hmm.
Like, hey, I just made my first 10K in a week or a month or 3 months, and I could show you how to do it. And then they kind of profit, and that's how they really profit out of out of all, right? They do it once, and then they're like, that's my complete resume, and it's proof that I did it, so you could do it too, and just pay me the consumer mindset, right? And people fall for that a lot. So that's one thing that I feel like people fake way too much. And also the lifestyle. I think success doesn't have to be so flashy. Um, success is very different in many people's eyes. Very, very different. And I feel like a lot of people that I think Colby said this once in a podcast, just like flexing the Lamborghini and stuff like that.
I think that was
Yeah,
you, Eddie.
was it me? Oh man,
Yeah, because I
you,
think you're
you
like, I would never take a picture by a Lamborghini unless I had one.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly, or something like that. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, in reality, it's like people see this euphoric way of success when it's not really that, I feel like.
Mhm. Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. I definitely agree, and that's what I was gonna say as well, is like the results are usually what's faked. Because well, there's like a fine line when you're looking at someone's content that you gotta remember. Like people are also faking it till they make it. But when people are like flat out lying about their results, I think that's what like makes me the most annoyed. Because like you won't see me unless I'm making 10K in a day or something like that. Like I'm not posting how much money I'm making because one, it's I don't feel like it's very relevant, but also like I hate when people do that because usually it's fake. Like 98% of the time, it's just them faking their results. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I gotta say on that topic, I guess.
I think personality too is heavily faked. I think there's so many times when there's been a influencer, somebody on social media, and it's not every time, but there's so many times when like you meet them in real life and their personality is not at all what you expected. And
That's
it's a
true.
little
Like,
bit of a letdown.
like celebrities and stuff too, like not even just influencers, I feel like.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I hate that. I can't, I'm like a person that's like, I just am like, whatever I'm feeling is what I'm saying. Like, that's just how I roll. I cannot fake things that very well, and I cannot lie. So it just like bothers me when other people are like that.
Yeah.
Like compulsive liars, I mean, respect, because that takes some mad skills because I can't do it. But still, I hate it.
Yeah. You know, and another thing too is that like a lot of people portray a different identity on social media than it is when you actually meet them in real life. Just, you know, because they have a character that everyone is familiar with, the people that follow them, that have subscribers. And it's like when you meet them, you're like, oh, you're nowhere near what you were like portraying on social media. And it's pretty weird. It throws you off guard. So um just kind of give it with a grain of salt, you know, kind of like how people perform and how people act on social media, especially the people that go viral.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I guess kind of connecting that to what I was talking about with like Camille and stuff, like don't be afraid to show your actual personality online. That's something like I'm gonna tag her in the notes because she's really cool and she's been doing a lot of different things online. But like she's been bringing like a voice of like authenticity. Like she's a new mom
Mm.
and she's doing all these different things and she's been just showing like her own personality. Like all the videos like that she's posted, some of them, yeah, they're kind of random, but they're so like her. So like and that's what I really like about the space that I'm in as well is like we're building personal brands because people can't replace you. And just so this is like a little tidbit about marketing. People aren't buying from companies anymore. They're buying from people. That's why influencers are so big because and why big companies are turning to influencers to promote their products because people are buying they want to buy from people and feel that connection. They don't want to just buy from a website that they see online.
Mm.
And so yeah, that's why I like the space that I'm in so much is because like that's what we're doing is building a personal brand. So like I guess what I'm saying is like most people I feel like are afraid to like step out of their comfort zone and like be themselves online because there's so much of a what's the word stereotype that you're supposed to be if you're like an online creator you're supposed to fit into. But there's really not like I said, the most random things are going viral that random people are posting. Like, don't be afraid to be yourself.
yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what is your guys' biggest self-sabotage habit? I know mine, and you guys are gonna laugh when I say it, but I want to
I
hear
share
yours.
yours.
What?
Share yours.
Okay, well, mine is playing My Singing Monsters, you guys. Like, I don't know if you ever played that game. Yes, it's so fun. I used to play it when I was like 12 with my brother, and then I re-downloaded it at the beginning of this year, and I've been playing it so long. I have like a really goated world on there, to be honest. But
Wow.
like it's like whenever I'm getting overwhelmed or like I don't know, because before you guys know this was Plants vs. Zombies, and then I beat the whole game, and that's why I got the other one. But like when I feel like I need a break or like well, that's how it started. If I feel like I needed a break from like social media and stuff, because at the time there were a lot of things related to an event that I worked that were going around on social media because it was a global event that happened here. And so my like escape, I guess, was if I had nothing else to do, I was playing Plants vs. Zombies. And now it's like become a bad habit of mine that if I'm like avoiding responding to someone or I'm avoiding something, I'm playing My Singing Monsters. So yeah, there it
Oh
is.
man, that's awesome.
That's wild. That's I never knew that. I never knew you were a My Singing Monsters pro.
Oh
That's
yeah,
crazy.
I'll have to show you my world next time.
Yeah, you have
Please
the
do.
Have you played it?
yes, I played it like when I was really young, maybe when I was like 13, something like that.
Yeah. So like
Yeah,
this when
forever
it came
ago.
out,
That's so funny. For me, yeah, I mean, I used to have a like a really big self-sabotage source, and that was definitely the video games. I was the big avid gamer, and I would play for like 5 to 8 hours straight, just nonstop. But to be fair, I was still young and I still had things that I needed to figure out about myself at that point. But yeah, I feel like that and currently right now the potential self-sabotaging source would be social media. Just constantly consuming is pretty addicting at the end of the day, and having the discipline not to do it is critical in order for you to uh,
Mm,
progress.
Get a brick or a bloom card.
Yeah, definitely need to get those.
there you go.
I can get you a discount on brick.
On Brick using
Yeah,
code Maze.
I think it's Maisie 15 or something. I don't know. I'll send it to you.
All right, yeah, please do. Please do.
Think mine is I get so sucked into like what I'm doing, and my self-sabotage is more of letting go of the daily habits that I should be doing, like working out. I'll end up staying up too late and like trying to work on stuff. And then I'll like say, oh, I could skip this one workout, or oh, I could like afford to like sleep in this time. And I think those are big because if you're not keeping up on your like health and your fitness and like your spirituality, like everything, if you're not keeping all those in check, then naturally each one starts failing. So you have to keep them up all going at the same time. So I think I could get a little too sucked into work to the point where I'm doing work and I'm avoiding specific different types of work that I don't want to do by doing that work. And I'm also avoiding like going to the gym and stuff. And that's one that I've been like really focusing and fixing on this last like month or so.
I think I definitely do the same thing. I was really bad for a minute, like especially when I was in such like a deep project mode. Like I was staying up all night working on stuff and I was basically in the same spot. And so the past
Mhm.
couple months I've been like trying to pull back on business because now I've created something that's passive and it's leveraged. Like that's the whole point. I created it so that I don't like have to work if I don't want to. But I've been
Right.
having a hard time almost like I still don't know if Savannah's episode with us is out yet. I needed to text her and ask. But like how she was talking about how she like gets stressed out if she doesn't have or she gets like really anxious if she doesn't have something to be working on. That's how I feel like I've been as well. And so I've been trying to pull back on that. And I think that's where this like bad habit of my singing monsters has like resurfaced because I got rid of it for like a couple months when I was like, I don't know. I started at the beginning of the year and I was like doing the same thing. Like it was when I was avoiding something, I was playing the game. And then I got super sucked in again into creating stuff and kind of stopped playing the game for a minute. And now that
Mm.
I've like kind of pulled back, I've started doing it. So now I got to figure out a happy medium where I'm not doing one or the other.
For sure. Sure. Totally get that.
Yeah. This next one is actually it's a really good question and it relates to one of the story that I just posted. It was actually Savannah's story that I reposted on Evogen this morning. But it's do you think discipline is more important than passion?
See, the thing is that you could stay disciplined and absolutely hate something. Uh, and there's like passion where like it keeps you disciplined. I feel like if you really enjoy what you do, you're gonna love it so much that you would want to do it every day, and that creates the discipline within itself indirectly. Uh, because there's some things that I've done that I really don't like to do, but I have to do it to stay disciplined. And I even dread, but I push myself to do that. But I mean, when you're passionate about something, it's like I want to do this every single day. Like count me in, and it's never really gonna die when you're passionate about something in life. So
Mm. I could see where Eddie's coming from, and I think I agree to a certain extent because I think that passion is your end goal, it's your reason for doing it, your reason for being. And if you don't have that passion linked to yourself as you're doing these things, if that thing that you're doing absolutely sucks and it doesn't serve that greater purpose, that greater goal that you are passionate about, that you want to fulfill, then I think discipline in and of itself will fail. Like I think about any kid who goes to get straight A's. Do they, like many of them don't want to go through and actually get all straight A's. The straight A's isn't what like is actually the achievement to them. The achievement to them is getting into a college like Harvard or Stanford. And if that's not the goal, if they're going to end up going to the same college that everyone else has to go to, then I think the passion is lost there. And I think that the discipline gets lost in that noise
Yeah.
because they're just, the mindset immediately goes to, I'm just going where everyone else is going. Why put my full energy and effort into this when I can conserve it and do something else?
That's true.
Exactly.
I'm like, when Eddie first said that, I was like, yeah, like that's the best thing I ever heard. And now I'm like, I do see both sides of it. Um, so yeah, I think about with what I'm doing with like all the like active assailant and research and stuff that I feel like is like my sole, not my sole purpose, but like the biggest reason that I'm here. And I I did lose my passion for that for a long time because I wasn't disciplined in going to trainings. I wasn't actively reading books to increase my knowledge on the topic, and all the things like that. So I kind of like it fell through the cracks. Like I almost was just gonna give up on it. I actually was gonna quit dispatch at the same time. And then said big event that I was referencing earlier happened and that like reignited that spark in me. Um, Crazy enough. I went to a therapist after that because it was a global event. I don't want to name drop it because I don't really want it to. You guys know what I'm talking about though.
Hmm.
Right.
And she was like, that must have been like a really hard day. And I was like, yeah, but that's not why I'm here. I feel like I'm here because it just reignited something in me. Like obviously it was a tragic event, so like not taking away the weight of that, but it ignited the reason that I'm like here. And I went to her because I felt like I had so much weighing on my shoulders. Like I felt like the entire world was like on my shoulders because all of a sudden all of these things that I was passionate about and all the reasons I had gotten into it in the first place and started researching this in the first place was because of the passion that I had. And so ever since then, I feel like I've been like on a steady course of it. And I do agree with what both of you guys said. Like passion does fuel your discipline, but at the same time, it's like kind of like an infinite loop. Like they both have to fuel each
Hmm.
other for you to
Yeah,
see any movement.
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
So yeah. What's something you guys had to sacrifice to grow to where you are now? I feel like we're all gonna have like a very similar answer, maybe even the same answer, but I want to hear what you guys are gonna say.
Yeah, so for me, something that I had to sacrifice in order to grow was definitely kind of like social groups, specific social groups. I feel like that plays an important role. I had to understand that, is just going to be a few people, that are close to me and a few people being not a group at all. And that's about it. That's all I'm going to have in order to get to where I need to be because the top of the hill, not a lot of people are on it, right?
Hmm.
So that's one thing. And then another thing that I had to sacrifice was definitely a lot of time, and time not knowing what the results will be. But I think there's this one study that they did, where they did like they have these balls, a ton of balls that they drop into like these hexagonal like things, and then it's always showing like this bell curve, I think it's called, like it's like a hill, right? So it's like because life is like made all out of like chaos, if you consistently do it, the pattern will always be the same. But at the same time, that obviously requires a lot of time and energy and work. So it might seem like, okay, well, the road is uncertain, but the results will come out to be what I want it to be at the end of the day. So that's a lot of time is something I had to sacrifice.
Mm.
But also, like, yeah, maybe you sacrificed your time, but how much time are you getting back by
Yeah.
by using it now? Like, did you really sacrifice it or did you just invest it?
Exactly. Exactly. So there's definitely an ROI depending on what you sacrifice your time on at the end of the day, right?
Hmm.
So,
What about
mm,
you, Colby? You look like you're deep in thought.
I would just agree very heavily. I think with Eddie, social groups, like that's been huge. Like just sacrificing a lot of people who I used to talk to, and I think also sacrificing at the same time um, ego and pride, like being
mm,
more humble. Because if you are like, it's one thing to like sacrifice those relationships and everything. It's another thing to say it's not because I'm better than you, it's because I'm going in a different direction than you.
Hmm.
And
right.
it's another thing to realize that where you're at is like not even close to who you can become and who you're trying to become. And so I think it's a sacrifice of almost like a sacrifice of self. You're saying you're trying to be transformed and you're transforming yourself through your new actions, and you're just it's just a whole redesign. It's a whole lifestyle change. You're sacrificing a lot in the end. And it's like there's a whole list of things that I think we each have sacrificed that goes on and on and on, and it keeps going on. We keep saying no to things, and we keep getting rid of things that are in the way. But ultimately, that's why we keep progressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing too that I would want to share is a story about this one guy that used to, I guess, train me with basketball. And there's these certain things that he called blind spots. And these blind spots were flaws that I've made that I never really saw ever in my performance. And I used to have a habit of like thinking that I was in the right, right? Whatever I did was completely fine because I scored the basket regardless, or, I made the right pass regardless, or I made the right decisions regardless, but it could have been approached a lot better, right? And having an open mind and letting go of the idea that you think you're always doing the right things and you're bound to that and you stay complacent that way. I feel like that's something that I had to sacrifice and really just stay open-minded and be an endless sponge and a student of the game, right? I've been saying that. It's just knowing that I'll never be the master at something. There's always going to be
Mm,
something to learn. So
I like that.
For sure. You guys said the answer that I thought you guys were gonna say, which is social groups. So I'm not gonna repeat that for a third time. But I think another thing that I sacrifice, which is probably like this is an ongoing sacrifice, but at this point doesn't even feel like I'm sacrificing anything, is my comfort zone. Like you have to get out of that spot of where you are because you like if you keep putting in the same input, you're just going to keep getting the same results. Like if you want something else, you got to put in something else for it. And so I think I don't know, from my standpoint now, I don't view it as a sacrifice. I just feel like it was just part of growth. But someone who might be starting out in the entrepreneurship world, someone who might be starting out in anything that we've talked about over the last, I don't even know what episode we're on, really like 16 or something, like the
we've done so
last
many.
15 or 16 weeks. Yeah. Like anyone who's like just getting into any of this stuff, like they may view it more as a sacrifice of like, oh, well, I'm giving up this schedule that I'm so used to. But like if you were so like I guess what I'm trying to say is if you're so comfortable with the schedule that you have, then why are you looking for more? Like
Yeah.
if you liked what you had so much, why are you searching for more? So is at the end of the day, is it really a sacrifice? I don't know. I guess it
Mm.
kind of can go both ways, but
Right. Do you think, this is a question for you guys, do you think being patient is a part of a sacrifice?
I don't think it's a sacrifice, but it's a skill, and it's a skill that I was not born with. So it has been it has been a tough road trying to be patient through everything. And I've had to get talked down a lot by mentors when I'm like, this isn't working, like we got to switch it up. And they're like, no, you got to be patient, let the process like work, let it happen. And then you'll start seeing results. And then I did. So
So
yeah,
it would feel something like kind of like excruciating, or kind of like, oh, like I have to
it's not
sacrifice my
fun.
time. Yeah, exactly.
It's not fun, but I still don't view it as a sacrifice. I view it as like something you have to learn, like
Yeah,
unless you're naturally born with patience, which like I guess I envy you if you were, because my life would be a lot easier if I was a patient person.
yeah,
I
right.
don't know how I don't know how Owen can deal with me sometimes because he is like one of the most patient people that I've ever met. And when I start setting him off, it's like not even funny because he's just like because he was so patient for so long and then he's like Maisie, knock it off. And I'm like, oh, I don't know how he puts up with me sometimes, but
Well, that's an advantage, right?
yeah, advantage for him.
Yeah, exactly.
What's a red flag in people, like probably the biggest red flag that you guys see in people that are trying to become entrepreneurs?
That they're not built for being entrepreneurs. They lie to themselves. And that's one thing too. Not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur. There's some people that are just meant to stay. I mean, just mindset wise, just the way that they operate. I mean, there's some people that they're meant to be just an investor, more of a passive approach. Make their returns that way. Some people are very big risk takers and they have more of a risk tolerance, and that's kind of like their archetype, I guess you could say, or personality trait. And they're very well built for being an entrepreneur. But I feel like a red flag that people, when they're trying to become entrepreneurs, that they're not completely honest with themselves.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. You have to look at yourself, and be like, let's be honest. Like, am I really willing to be an entrepreneur and do the things that an entrepreneur has to take in order to get to where he needs to be, or if not even see anything at all for the first time or second time.
Mm,
Like
So
the first 10 times.
yeah, first 10 times. Yeah.
yeah.
That's true.
I I agree
Go
with
ahead.
that. I think there is a huge misperception in get rich quick. I think the biggest
Yeah.
red flag is people thinking that they're going to get rich quick.
Yeah, that true. And like that's I kind of went within or when I first got into entrepreneurship, I had more of like that mindset. Like I knew it was going to take work, but I thought like within the first 6 months, like I was going to be making lots of money. And like people do that. People actually are achieving that, but that wasn't my story. That
Hmm.
wasn't how it was supposed to be for me. Because if I would have just made $200,000 in my first 6 months, like I thought I was going to, like I would not have learned so many of these lessons. Like there's a reason for everything. I also want to bring it back to kind of what Eddie said. Like I do agree, like people not wanting to be honest with themselves. I sort of disagree with well, it is true. Not everybody is like meant to be an entrepreneur or step into this space. But I do want to say for people who are maybe questioning it and having like a little bit of imposter syndrome, like don't talk yourself out of it because not everyone's meant to be in this space. Like if you've taken the action, like if you're listening to this episode and you've made it this far, like you're probably meant to go down that path and it's so strongly calling your name. So don't let that like push you away. We're talking about the people that are like waking up, going to their 9 to 5. They hate their job, they complain about it, but they literally won't do anything to change it. Because
Yeah.
all of these skills that we know, like just said, like all of everything that I learned from being on this path. I didn't just like jump into the world of entrepreneurship and know all of this stuff, like have all of this wisdom. So all the skills and mindset shifts, like those can be learned.
Yeah, absolutely. No, one thing too, just about getting rich quick is that sometimes you're not in the position of being rich yet because um it would destroy you. I'm a big believer in that. I'm a big believer in if you receive a lump sum of money, kind of like people that win the lottery as an example, more times than not, they destroy their lives by receiving that buttload of money rather than, I guess just not winning the lottery at all. So, um, that's one thing. I feel like the position that I'm in financially and the path that I'm going for and the time that it's taking, it's there for a reason, just so I don't destroy myself in the process, while I'm making a lot more money down the road. So,
Yeah, and I think that might be where the fear of success stems from. I mean, that's something that I battled with for a while, and still, even sometimes I'm like, whoa, wait, hold on a second. Like, this is moving fast. But, like, when you're seeing such rapid success and things are changing so rapidly, it you're changing so many aspects of your life that are not just financially. Like your whole ecosystem is going to change when like you hit that point. So like Eddie said, like it could destroy you if you're not ready for it yet.
yeah,
Um, and also I think a lot of people just like look at the monetary side when it's not just monetary. Like I've talked about my success for the past 2 years when on paper maybe I wasn't very successful for 2 years. Like if someone was looking at my paychecks or like my tax return, they're like, "Whoa, that girl, she's struggling a little bit," and I was for a little bit. That is true. But also, I felt so successful because I had done so many things that pushed me out of my comfort zone and had learned so many different lessons that I didn't think were possible and was given so many opportunities that I didn't think were possible either. And I feel like that means more than having $1 billion. Like,
yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely.
I agree.
yeah, I guess I never answered my question or my side of things. I was gonna jump in with like the get rich quick, but also people just following gurus and expecting the results from the gurus online. Like, just be intentional with who you're following online and
Hmm.
making sure they're actually like credible and you can actually like just do your due diligence before buying into any of their courses or any of these things because there's a lot of them out there that like we talked about earlier, they made their first 10K and then everything after that was because they were like, this is how I did it, like follow
Yeah,
me. And then people are buying into this idea of these results that they had, which isn't always repeatable like people think they are.
For sure. Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, have the vision, but don't let the vision blind you, I guess. Or
I like
don't let
that.
the
That's
vision
good.
blind you. Um, okay. What's something people waste way too much time on? I feel like I know what your answers are going to be for this too, but we'll see.
um, I guess what the cost is behind the investment that they're putting themselves into. I think they analyze too much on the cost. Like, how much is this costing me, rather than is this going to be worth it for me? Whether if it succeeds or not, you always take something with you out of a success or failure at the end of the
Mhm.
day. So I feel like a lot of people dwell on that. Um, and a lot of people waste too much time on the perception of others, what other people are going to think of them when taking action and pursuing their dreams, I guess you can say, what their parents might think or friends. So that's another critical thing, I think.
I actually didn't think you were going to say that. I thought you were going to say like social media or something, but I like how you went with that. So,
Yeah,
anyways, Colby, you can go ahead.
I think it just they waste way too much time on probably just analyzing. I think most people get stuck in analysis by paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty much mostly like what Eddie said is they get stuck in a loop of thinking, oh, what if this, like what if that, what if this? And like just constantly preparing for things that haven't even happened yet, or just trying to like make preparations for things that aren't even coming yet. It's like, gotta slow down, gotta relax. First, start validating. If you're not taking action, then you're not getting anywhere. So I think that's what comes to my mind.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that
what. Oh, go ahead.
There's a saying that I like to say, like a lot of people are 10 steps ahead without taking their first. And and I think that's a very, very good quote that a lot of people should take into mind. It's like, well, take your first step first, then maybe you can think about the next two or three, whatever is
Hmm.
comfortable in your path and your journey at the end of the day.
For sure.
I was before I when I was reading ahead, I was actually going to like answer first and talk about like analysis by paralysis or like just oh wait, paralysis by analysis. Oops. I said it backwards.
Yeah.
But
But,
or just feeling like over analyzing what this opportunity could mean for them, especially with like the if it's a financial investment or whatever, like people are scared. I think another big thing is the fear of failure, which I actually I was watching Perfect Match, like one of the stupid reality TV Nick
oh
Lachey
yeah.
shows the other day. But someone in it said something really good and he's like, "Are you afraid of failing? Or are you afraid of failing in front of other people?" And I was
Mm,
like, that is so facts. Like I feel like I haven't really maybe I'm like weird in the entrepreneurship world. I feel like the fear of failure is something that isn't really like crossed my path, but I have seen it a lot with other people. And I definitely agree with that. Like, I don't think it's the fear of actually failing, because I think his example was like if you're put on a random island and you try something and you fail, like you're not going to care as much because it's just you and you'll just try it again. But people are so scared of like what other people are going to think of them, especially in our generation. And so, yeah, I think that's something that people waste way too much time on is the potential consequences that haven't even happened yet and most likely won't happen because people are so sucked into their own world that they don't even care that much.
For sure.
But yeah, I don't know. You guys have anything else to add to that one?
I
No, I
think
think that was pretty straightforward. Just
Yeah.
what you were saying is pretty clear and well thought out, I think.
Okay, well, thanks. Now, have you guys ever felt lonely while leveling up?
Yeah, this is very interesting. So, this actually happened yesterday. So my cousin, he's currently doing he's barbering, so he's cutting hair for people and stuff like that, and he's starting kind of like his own path in that route, and he's been very consistent. He really enjoys doing it. And he had this specific, I guess, group of friends that he'd hang out with often. And then I guess the more he starts focusing on his career and wanting to really succeed on that, the more he starts to realize, like, wow, like a lot of these people that I thought were cool, they just don't really have any goals. They just don't have anything going for them. And then now he has like more free time, but the people that he would spend time with, he's not really doing that anymore because he's starting to realize like there's not a lot of people that are kind of like doing what I want to be doing or the path that I want to get to at the end of the day. So it's, and I told him like, I started laughing and I'm like, that's just the beginning because you're going to start feeling lonely a lot more the more you start succeeding, the more you start climbing up that hill. So
Hmm.
I've personally
yeah.
felt that.
No, 100%. I would agree with that. I think that's a great like story too about like that's super real, especially like right now. I mean, I think it's very true. The more you grow and the more you succeed. I think though, as you continue to grow, you develop a group of people who like if I ever need to talk about something, I always know I could, text Maisie or Eddie. Um, and I have an amazing, beautiful fiance that I can always talk to, and I know that she'll listen. And but like the other thing is like I found her, and I was like we were attracted to each other partially because we understood what each other were going through because she has parents who are entrepreneurs and who are running a business, and she's involved in that. So I think as you grow, you just find people who are going to the same direction, and it takes time, and you have to intentionally seek them out. And at first, you're not going to find them, but I think it's something that we overcome.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
set
And
out
even
for you.
like, what?
No, I said it's set out for you at the end of the day, right? The more
Yeah.
yeah,
It definitely sucks, especially when you're first going through it and first realizing it. But yeah, like Colby said, you overcome it. Like you find people like my social circle, I went through it intentionally at the beginning of the year and like cut it down to my 5 people because you're as successful as the top 5 people around you. And it was like you guys and a couple mentors and then um Riley, who I go to the gym with all the time because she's my best friend. But like other than that, like I don't really give my time to anyone else because no one else gets it. So
Mm,
right. Makes sense.
yeah.
No, I mean, there's been times where, like, even sometimes I get caught up in my head, and this is one thing that, I always try to feel, but I don't. I used to let it back way back when, used to let it affect me, but not anymore. But I still get some feelings of like, dang, like, man, it's like I feel like it's just only me sometimes. And it's just like a wave, and that's completely normal to feel, but to ponder too much on it can be unhealthy. But yeah, I mean it's always going to be normal, to feel lonely once in a while. So, or
mhm,
isolated. So,
Yeah. I guess along with that, because this is something that I feel like can answer that question too, but our final question is what's something you wish people our age understood earlier?
that if they do it now, they won't worry about it later.
That
Because I
is
feel
true.
like they want to do it now and then worry later.
No,
So,
that's true.
uh that's funny. No, but no, that's one thing for sure. I think a lot of people are definitely short. They look at the short term point of view. They're very short minded, and they look at, oh man, like I don't want to miss out on this party or this kickback that they have, with a couple of friends or this hangout and kind of, putting their minds into like certain things. Obviously, there's very healthy hobbies that they should keep, um, and they should continue doing. But I just feel like they should understand that like if they just put in the work now, number one, they'll find their people earlier rather than later. Because if you do it, if they try doing it later, I mean, like there's only a chance of that happening. There's like, more of a guarantee of doing it now and finding your people now and getting the things that you want now than it is later on. So
mm,
that's what I think people should understand.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And like I feel like there's nothing wrong with like wanting to go to like a party here and there, but like
Sure.
also just keep the end goal in mind, like keep the vision in mind of where you want to go. And like I said earlier, like it's basically just an investment of your time. Like, are you really gonna remember this college party or this like dumb little thing that you had? Or are you gonna remember this big trip to Bali or somewhere that you got to take because of all these like because of the work that you put in? Like, which one are you gonna remember for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Um, there was another thing that I was gonna add to that, and I don't remember. I'll remember it in a second.
One thing that I would say too is that some people would sacrifice those short-term moments now compared to long-term outlooks and projections that they could be doing. So that's
Mhm.
one thing I would want to add as well.
mm,
Yeah, that's where I was gonna go, is especially in the business model that I'm in, the space that I'm in, there's like a community of like 10,000 of us. Um, that have like adapted the same business model or whatever. But there's one, he's like seen so much success in the space. His name is Balaj W. Cardos. And one thing he talks about, because he markets to like younger, like sales guys, like in their 20s. And one thing he talks about a lot is like most people don't think about the long run. Like when he was in his 20s and getting started in the business model, like his vision was so that he could provide for his family and be able to be present when his with his future kids, even though he knew it wasn't for like 5, 10 more years down the line. He wanted to set himself up for that. And I feel like most people don't think about that. Like Eddie said, like most people will worry about it later. Like do the fun thing now and then stress about it later. And that's, I think, the trap that most people get stuck in their entire lives.
For sure. I the number one thing, if I were to say it, like that I think I wish our generation understood earlier was there's no such thing as failure. I think schools do such a good job at teaching us that an F is a failure and that's a bad thing. Like failure's not bad.
Hmm.
Like, okay,
Right.
so not there's no such thing as failure. I should go back on that. That failure isn't bad. That's what I wish they understood. Failure isn't a bad thing. We go through school, we're taught our entire lives failure is not bad. But seriously, if you fail, that's not like a bad thing. It's a learning experience. And you have to fail over and over and over and over again in order to succeed. Like that's like one of the biggest differences between school and business when it's being taught and being learned is in school you learn how bad failure is, and if you fail, like you lost, you just didn't do a great job, you didn't try hard enough, yada yada, you didn't study hard enough, yada yada yada.
Right.
In business you learn if you fail, you had a good experience, you took action, you learned. Now you have something to go off of the next time you try, and you learn to get back up. So, and then like school teaches the one shot, you're done. If you don't do it right the first time, there's rarely a second time. Whereas a business, there's always a second time, there's always a third, a fourth, a fifth, and you need those in order to succeed. And it's because you're testing a new space, you're testing something new and different, and you're learning and growing. And so I think that that's probably the biggest thing that I would say is failure is not a bad thing. It's a great thing and it can teach you amazing things if you have the right mindset of what failure really is.
Yeah. I like that. And bringing it back to what I said earlier about people being scared to fail in front of other people. Usually if like you even have like if you have the guts to start a business and even if it like kind of flops the first time, like people think you're so cool because you did this thing that nobody else has done or that no one else that they know has done. And now you're this cool business owner that everybody knows. Like
Yep.
it
Yeah.
if I mean obviously you talk about letting go of your ego, but like if some people that is like validation from other people is what drives them to succeed. And like if that's like just keep that in mind if that's something that sticks out to you.
Right. What one behavior that I see from people that aspire to be something and go down the path that Colby's going down or Maisie or even myself uh, is that sometimes they feel like they're not good enough or like to be around to surround themselves around people that are already maybe 3 steps ahead of them or 4 steps ahead of them when that's not really the idea. The idea is to find that opportunity, meet someone like that, and jump on with them and provide value for one another. Because that's only going to take you to where you want to be at the end of the day, where you deeply desire to be. So, I feel like that's super important as well for everyone who's just starting out and, maybe they know of someone who's been pretty successful as of lately. Get to know them more, hang out with them more, it's only going to benefit you rather than have you always feeling embarrassed and isolating yourself from those type of breeds, I guess you could say, those type of people. So,
And most of the time they're so willing to just like jump in and help you figure it out. Like so many people are so excited to do that, especially with my mentors and people that I've been connected with. My one of my mentors that I recently just met in person, she's the person I'm going to Bali with, and she's like I'm staying with her for a couple days. We're going to be masterminding like the entire time before she hosts this amazing retreat. Like if I was scared to like get in the rooms and be around people who are more successful than me, I would have never been connected with her. But two, like she's just been so willing and so excited to help me follow a similar path that she went on and see the same success that, or not the same, but like similar success to what she's achieved as well. And I know Colby can relate to this too, meeting some of his mentors and idols, honestly, and they just being so excited to meet him and help him out with stuff. So Oh, is Colby? No, he's not frozen. I didn't know if you had
I'm right
anything to
here.
say on that. I didn't want to like fully speak for you or not.
No, you're right. I think, yeah, it's very true. I mean, you said it pretty dang well. So
All right. Well, that's all of our questions. I don't know if you guys have anything, any other input, if you guys have any of your own questions that you want to ask.
Um,
Or if you feel like
nothing
that's
as of
it.
right now. I already asked side questions that I needed to ask or kind of comments. So yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah.
much good.
I feel like it was pretty
yeah,
thorough. I liked this episode a lot. I guess we'll close it out then. So, everyone go follow us on Instagram. As always, we have some exciting announcements coming soon, especially with our platform, where we have Evogen. There's just so many big announcements coming soon. And yeah, let us know if you guys want us to do another one of these Q&A episodes. I kind of liked it better than like the other format that we had. So send us
yeah.
some questions to answer. And I mean, even if you guys don't tell us to do another one, we probably will anyways. But we will see you guys next time.
So y'all.
All right. Okay. Video podcast is over.